You better not make a scene, Harper. Today is Lena's day, not your son's. Don't embarrass us. My mother's voice sliced through the air just as I placed my son's graduation cap perfectly onto his head. Then my brother, arms folded and smirking, added loudly,
Relax, Mom.
"It's not like her kid is that special anyway." That was the moment something inside me cracked.
Hi.
My name is Harper Wynn. I'm 37, a single mom, and apparently the family's scapegoat. My son, Ethan, just graduated with honors, the first in our entire family to do so. But you wouldn't know that from the way everyone treated us that day. According to them, the world revolved around my golden niece, Lena, my brother's daughter, the one who deserved every spotlight, as my parents always said. The afternoon sun was warm, the auditorium buzzing with excited families, camera flashes, and proud cheers. Everywhere except where we stood. My parents pretended not to see the honor cords on Ethan's robe. Pretended not to hear his name being called. Pretended he didn't exist unless it was convenient for them. When Ethan walked across the stage, my throat tightened. I clapped, loudly, proudly. But my mother grabbed my wrist and hissed, "Stop it. Lena goes up next. Don't steal her moment." I stared at her, stunned. Ethan heard it too. His smile faltered. That hurt more than anything. After the ceremony, as families hugged and celebrated, my parents rushed to Lena with balloons, flowers, and a professional photographer they had hired. Ethan stood beside me holding a single flower he bought for himself because it felt right. Then my brother approached, wearing that same smug grin. "Don't be dramatic, Harper. Every family has a star. Yours just isn't him." I felt Ethan shift beside me, stiff, small, wounded. I opened my mouth to defend him, but my mother cut in. "Don't start. We told you not to overshadow Lena. Let's keep this day pleasant." Something cold spread through my chest. Then Ethan whispered, "Mom, can we just go?" I turned to him, and that's when I made a decision that would change everything. Ethan sat in the passenger seat of my car, staring quietly out the window as the school campus shrank behind us. His tassel dangled from his fingers, twisting slowly, like he was trying to make sense of the day. "Mom, did I do something wrong?" His voice was small, too small for a boy who just graduated with honors. My heart clenched.
No.
"You did everything right. They're the ones who failed today." But even as I said it, a familiar heaviness pressed against my chest, the same weight I'd carried my entire life. My parents had always played favorites. My brother, Daniel, was the golden child. His daughter, Lena, inherited that golden glow. And Ethan, my sweet, hardworking boy,
To them, he was a shadow.
an afterthought. I tried to ignore it for years. I tried to tell myself it was just in my head. But deep down, I always knew the truth. Love in my family wasn't given, it was rationed. And some of us were always starving. When we got home, Ethan went straight to his room. I followed a moment later and found him sitting on the edge of his bed, staring at his diploma. He whispered, "I thought they'd be proud." That sentence broke me. I sat beside him. "I am proud. So proud. Enough for every person who failed you today." He nodded, but his eyes glistened in a way that told me my words weren't enough to erase the wound. Not this time. Hours later, after he fell asleep, I sat in the dark living room, replaying every moment from the ceremony. The fake smiles, the comments, the wrist grab, the dismissal. This wasn't new. This was the final straw. I remembered all the birthdays ignored. The holidays where Daniel's kids got piles of gifts while Ethan received nothing more than a forced smile. The times my parents dismissed Ethan's achievements because Lena needs encouragement. She's sensitive. I had swallowed every insult for the sake of keeping the family together. But today I watched my son shrink under their cruelty. And I realized something. Staying was hurting him more than cutting ties ever could. As midnight approached, my phone buzzed. A family group chat message popped up. "Tomorrow we're having a special dinner for Lena's graduation. Don't bring Ethan. It's her moment." I stared at the screen, and a slow, icy calm washed over me. I stared at the group chat message, the glow of my phone washing over my hands. Don't bring Ethan. It's her moment. The audacity didn't even shock me anymore. It exhausted me. But beneath that exhaustion, something darker stirred, something sharper. The next morning, Ethan came into the kitchen wearing a hopeful smile. Grandma said there's a dinner tonight. Should I dress nice?
God.
He still believed they might change. He still believed they might see him. I swallowed the burn in my throat and shook my head.
No, sweetheart.
We're not going. He went still. Because of yesterday? Because of everything, I said softly, brushing his hair back. He looked down at the countertop, tracing circles with his fingertip. Mom, they act like I'm not part of the family. That was it. That was the sentence that carved itself into my spine like a blade. I pulled him into my arms, but my mind was already shifting, gears turning, puzzle pieces falling into place. There had to be a way to protect him and to make them finally see what they had lost. Later that afternoon, Daniel called. Not to ask about Ethan. Not to apologize. No, he called to remind me. Mom wants you to at least drop by with a card or something for Lena. Don't make this awkward. I laughed, an actual laugh. He didn't like that. What's funny? He snapped. You, I said simply. All of you. There was a pause, then his voice dropped into that condescending tone he mastered since childhood. You're overreacting. Ethan isn't. I cut him off. Don't you dare finish that sentence. Whatever, he muttered. Just don't ruin tonight. When he hung up, I realized something chilling. They truly believed I would keep bending forever. That I would show up, swallow the disrespect, hand over a gift, and stand quietly in the corner while their precious golden child basked in attention. But not this time. Instead, I opened my laptop. I pulled up an email draft I'd started months ago, something I never had the courage to send. A letter. A truth bomb. A door closing with finality. My fingers hovered over the keyboard when Ethan stepped into the room, holding something behind his back. Mom, he said quietly, can I show you something? His voice, something was wrong. Ethan stepped forward slowly, clutching something behind him like he wasn't sure he should show me. His shoulders were tense, eyes glossy. The look of a boy trying to be strong and failing. What is it, sweetheart? I asked gently. He swallowed, then extended his hand. It was a card, a graduation card. But not for my family.
No.
It was returned. The envelope was creased, torn slightly on one edge. My mother's handwriting was scrawled across the front. Leave this for Lena. She deserves it more. Ethan whispered. I tried to give it to Grandpa yesterday. He said to give it to my cousin instead. My heart didn't break. It detonated. Did he say anything else? I asked, forcing my voice steady. Ethan nodded slowly. He told me, some kids shine brighter and that's okay. He looked up at me with a trembling smile. I guess I'm not a bright kid? That was the moment. The humiliation. The big betrayal. The one that didn't happen to me, but to the only person who ever mattered. I sank to my knees and cupped his face.
Ethan.
You shine brighter than all of them combined. They just refuse to see it. He sniffed, wiping his cheek. I don't want to go to the dinner. I don't want them to say anything else about me. You're not going, I said. Not ever again. That evening, as my family gathered at a fancy restaurant across town, posting photos of Lena holding bouquets and posing with her diploma, I sat beside Ethan on our couch.
We watched a movie.
We ordered pizza. We laughed. For the first time, I felt peace, a cold, decisive peace. But then my phone buzzed nonstop. First, Mom. Where are you? You should at least show your face. Then Daniel. Don't make this dramatic, Harper. Show up. No one cares about Ethan right now. Then Mom again. If you wanted him honored so badly, you should have raised a more remarkable child. That was it. The line that burned everything down. I stood up, grabbed my laptop, and opened that unsent email draft again. But this time, something new crystallized inside me. Not just anger. Not just hurt. A plan. A very, very calm plan. I whispered, "Ethan, they're never going to hurt you again." And while he looked at me with confusion, I finally started typing. I typed slowly at first, each keystroke steady, deliberate. Not rage-filled, no. Rage clouds judgment. What I felt was clarity, a stillness sharpened into purpose. For years, I tolerated their cruelty because I believed family meant something sacred, something worth preserving.
But now?
Now I saw the truth. They weren't family. They were a system, one that fed on favoritism, guilt, and control. And like any broken system, it could be dismantled. Ethan sat beside me, half watching the movie, half watching me. "What are you doing, Mom?" he asked softly. I closed my laptop for a moment. "I'm making sure your future never looks like your past."
He didn't understand, not yet.
But he trusted me. That was enough. I opened the laptop again and began drafting something far more powerful than a simple goodbye message. I wrote a removal letter, a full severance. Emotionally, financially, legally. A clean break. First, I addressed my parents directly. Effective immediately, Ethan and I will no longer participate in any family gatherings, celebrations, or communication. Your treatment of him has crossed every line of decency and parenting. Then I added the parts that would sting, not out of pettiness, but truth. Your golden child favoritism is toxic. You have harmed your own grandson for the sake of preserving a hierarchy that never existed outside your imagination. Then came Daniel's portion. I had detailed every moment he belittled Ethan. Every time he weaponized Lena's achievements to undermine my son. Every snide remark. Every dismissal. And I ended with, "You wanted the spotlight on your daughter. You can have it. But from now on, you will never share a room, a table, or a breath with my son again." I wasn't done. Not even close. Next, I opened my bank's online account, the savings I had quietly built for years. My parents believed I was financially dependent, that I needed their approval to stay afloat. They had no idea how wrong they were. I began transferring funds into a new private account under my name only. The final step? A withdrawal from the shared emergency fund I once opened for them, the one I had been contributing to for years while Daniel contributed nothing. Ethan glanced over. "Mom, what's happening?" I looked at him, a slow, composed smile spreading across my face. "Honey," I said quietly, "I'm setting us free." But freedom was just the beginning. The next morning, I woke up with a calmness I hadn't felt in years, the kind that scares people, the kind that means something irreversible has begun. I brewed coffee, opened my laptop, and reread everything I'd written. It was sharp,
Precise.
unapologetic. But revenge, real revenge, isn't just about words. It's about impact. And I wanted impact that would echo through every corner of my family for years. So, I began the execution. First step. I printed the severance letter, signed it, scanned it, and emailed copies to every member of the family, including extended relatives who lived states away but loved gossip more than oxygen. Subject line: Ethan and I are done.
Second step.
I revoked my parents' access to the shared emergency fund. Within minutes, their login credentials expired. The moment it processed, I felt something in my chest loosen like a door unlatching. Then came step 3, the one I had been saving for the perfect moment. On my phone was something called the tribute video, a compilation I'd quietly built over the years. Ethan tutoring younger kids for free. Ethan receiving academic awards. Ethan working part-time to save for college. Ethan visiting my parents with homemade cookies, only to be ignored. Ethan clapping proudly at Lena's recital while she didn't even look at him. I stitched everything together into a 3-minute cinematic sequence, soft piano music underneath. A spotlight on the child they dismissed. A spotlight on the boy they actively dimmed. At the end, a single line in white text on black. "This is the child you said wasn't special." I uploaded it to the family group chat with no caption. Then I blocked them. Every one of them. 5 minutes later, my phone began vibrating nonstop, unknown numbers calling, message previews popping before disappearing. What is this? "Harper, are you crazy? Take that down now." But I didn't even look. Instead, I closed my phone, set it aside, and turned to Ethan. Want to go out today?
I asked.
His face brightened instantly. Really? Where? Anywhere you want. As we got into the car, a thought settled deep in my bones. They weren't angry because I exposed them. They were angry because my silence had finally ended. And I was nowhere near finished by the time Ethan and I finished lunch at his favorite little diner. My phone had blown up so violently it felt like it might combust in my bag. I ignored every vibration until one call slipped through from a number I recognized but hadn't saved. My father. Ethan looked at me. You don't have to answer.
I know,
I said. But I want to. I stepped outside, letting the cold air settle around me before answering. The second the call connected, he erupted. Harper, what the hell have you done? Your mother is in tears. Daniel is furious. You humiliated the entire family. I leaned against the brick wall, staring at the sky, feeling nothing but steady calm. I didn't humiliate anyone. I just showed the truth. That video makes us look terrible. You made you look terrible, I shot back. I just pressed upload. He sputtered for a moment, then switched tactics, the guilt-tripping tone I'd grown up choking on. You're breaking this family apart. Over what? Some childish jealousy? Ethan will get over it. And there it was. The sentence that revealed everything. Not an apology. Not reflection. Just dismissal. Again. I sighed. This isn't about jealousy. This is about how you've treated my son his entire life. Stop exaggerating, he snapped. Lena just needs more encouragement. She's delicate. And Ethan? I asked quietly. What did he need that you ever gave him? Silence. A silence so dense it finally told the truth. Nothing. They gave him nothing. Take down that video, my father said, his voice ice. And undo the bank access thing. Immediately. We're going to sit down tonight like adults and fix this. I laughed, softly, genuinely.
No.
You don't get access. You don't get explanations. And you definitely don't get Ethan. His voice cracked. You're making a mistake. No, I said. I'm correcting one. I hung up. Moments later, another call came. Daniel. I declined it. He called again.
Declined.
A third time. Declined. Then came a text from him, the one that made my breath still.
Fine.
You want consequences? Don't come crying when Lena gets the scholarship you thought Ethan would get. We've already talked to Mom's connections. They were still trying to sabotage my son. I walked back inside, my jaw tight, but my mind crystal clear. They wanted a war? They had just earned one. Daniel's message kept replaying in my mind as I drove Ethan home. Don't come crying when Lena gets the scholarship you thought Ethan would get. So that was their next move. Not remorse. Not reflection. Revenge. On a child. But they didn't know something important. Something that would become the final twist of all twists. 1 month earlier, Ethan had quietly applied for a national STEM scholarship. A massive one. One with judges who didn't care about family connections or who the golden child was. One based entirely on merit. And Ethan had worked tirelessly for it. I had seen the late-night study sessions, the weekend projects, the hours of effort. But my family didn't know a thing about it. And today, of all days, an email sat in my inbox with a subject line. Congratulations, Ethan Wynn. I didn't tell him yet. Not until we got home. Not until I made sure this moment would drown out every insult he'd endured. When we walked inside, he was still quiet, still unsure of his place in the world after years of their emotional erosion. Ethan, I said, pulling him into the living room, sit down. I want to show you something.
He sat.
Nervous. Hopeful. I opened my laptop, the same laptop I had used to cut off our family, and clicked the email. Read it, I whispered. His eyes scanned the screen. They widened, then widened more. His lips parted, trembling. I got it, he whispered. Mom, I got it. You didn't just get it, I said, kneeling in front of him. You earned it. Without them. Without anyone dimming you. You did this. He covered his face with both hands as tears slipped out, the good kind, the healing kind. Minutes later, my phone buzzed again. This time, I answered. It was my mother. She didn't sound angry anymore. She sounded small. Harper, your brother told us Ethan got something? A scholarship. Yes, I said simply.
Oh.
Well, don't you think the family should celebrate it together? Bring Ethan over. We'll make dinner. There it was, the shift. Not from love. From fear. Fear of losing the child they undervalued. Fear of missing out on the success they never nurtured. No, I said plainly. You don't get to celebrate what you never supported. But we're family, she whispered. Family doesn't treat children like competition pieces, I replied. Family lifts them, protects them. You did neither. She went silent. Then I delivered the final line. The one that sealed everything. You wanted Lena in the spotlight. Congratulations. She can stay there. Because Ethan won't be standing anywhere near your stage ever again. I hung up. Ethan walked over, hugged me tightly, and whispered, Thank you for choosing me, Mom. I kissed his forehead. I always will. And as the sun set outside our window, warm and golden, I felt something I hadn't felt in years.
Peace.